Guys, for a very limited time only, there is a 20% discount if you follow the link in the description. It's only good for a few weeks. I'm going to try to get a different discount up after that one expires, but it may be for less than 20%.
All right, we're going to check out, shoot, and review this Commander NV400 by OneLeaf. The zoom on that, I can't wait to try that out. More on that later. 4 to 52x magnification, 50mm objective lens. I'm going to talk about these reticles later. There's some of the stuff they advertise on the box. I got a list I'm going to go over here real quick. Some different models there, and there's some stats you can pause on there if you wish. So I'm not a huge stats guy. A lot of you guys are already going to know all the stats. You probably already looked at this before coming to this video to check it out. And for those of you who didn't do such, who are just now finding out about it because of videos like this, you can always just go follow the link in the description. I'll have a link up one way or another, so you can go check out everything that you could be wanted to know about the scope through the link in the description. But what I'm going to do is go over all the features that stood out to me. So obviously we got our owner's manual there, a little cameo cloth in there, some instructions, and there she is. Let's see what else is in here. 2-year warranty, that says. Silica pack. Looks like we got a scope cap there. I think that's the infrared illuminator, which we'll go over. Man, this lid's gonna fight me the whole time. Okay, battery charger. We'll go over that as well, because I have some comments on the batteries. What else we got in here? All right, there's your little eyepieces on the back. Because with it being night vision, you need to close off your eye. So during the day, you don't need this, but you're going to need this at night. 2 different ones. I don't know if they're the same length. Looks like one's slightly smaller, but if not, you know, serves as a backup for sure. This looks like a cable, some hardware there, tools you're going to need. Ooh, we got some O-rings and such. There's a cable. USB to C. Go over that, of course. Another cable. That's a micro HDMI, I believe, to USB. What is that? I'm not sure what that is. We'll figure it out. All right. I'll check the box. I think that's everything other than the scope here. Come on. There we go. Let me get this box out here. It's taking up so much space. Okay. So there's your scope. Oh, cool. That's one of the things I was going to mention. Optional rangefinder. I was hoping that they sent it to me with the rangefinder. So there's your rangefinder there. It is an option. You have to pay extra for it. It mounts on the side of the scope. And then also, where'd that infrared go? I got to pop her out of the bag there. But the infrared mounts to the other side of the scope. So there she is there. What's this say? Yep, clean, don't touch. That's pretty self-explanatory. How's the scope cap work? I'm looking through the camera here. It's a little difficult. It might just be a little stiff. I don't know. Let me check the box real quick. Man, I can't tell which way's up right. There we go. I believe that way. Checking the box. And other than the little silica pack, that's everything. Okay, so the reason I couldn't figure out which way it went, it was because, and you guys probably picked up on that, they intentionally install the rings upside down, I'm assuming, so that everything fits in the box. So that's what that little card there denotes. So I had to flip my rings around. I went ahead and threw on the illuminator. Nothing's tight. I just kind of put everything on there. Nothing's tightened down yet. So that's how it'll sit. There's the end. There's the eyepiece. There's your rangefinder. Again, that's an option. So if you have your rangefinder, that's where it will go. And your illuminator goes up here. And while I was messing around off camera, mainly due to the fact that my phone decided to start doing an automatic update without my permission. I found a few neat little quirks, so I'll go over those real quick. So the first of which being those rings, they come on upside down by design. Again, I think it's a packaging thing. These are really nice. So these are spring loaded, the bottom of your rings there to mount it to your Picatinny rail. And they have a little screw down in there. I don't know if you can see it because of the lighting, but that keeps it from falling off, so you can back them all the way out. I always hate it when scope rings mounts, they just like fall apart if you unscrew it too far, and then you got to try to like hold it in place all at the same time and everything. So you don't have that issue with these. Spring loaded, which I always love the spring loaded ones. And then the nut doesn't come off the end because it's screwed down into the post there. So that was pretty cool. The illuminator here, this has some sort of pivoting mechanism in here. You might be able to see it, hopefully hear it. So it's pivoting back and forth, left and right ever so slightly. So it's pretty well aligned with the scope, but it gives you a little bit of room of adjustment in there. And you can actually get a little more by loosening this up. So you can pivot it left and right, up, down a little bit, it feels like too, until you get it in the perfect spot when you're looking through the scope. That way it's perfectly centered and focused around your reticle, you know, for night vision. And then when you have it right where you need it, then you get that good and tightened down, and it'll hold it right in the middle where your crosshairs are where you need it. So I thought that little pivoting mechanism in there was neat. Then the lens cap here, is a little stiff, and it's not one of the flip up kinds. It's kind of sticky, so it stays wherever you put it. And then this is purpose built here. It's got the hole in the end. Man, the lighting in here is horrible. Apologize for that. You should be able to see some threads in there. So when you're using it at night, you'll have it flipped open like that to let as much light in as possible. Using it during the day, you have it closed. And then let me reach for this guy down here one sec. This is the sunshade. But that's just kind of how it works. So during the day, you have this down and it just looks through the center of it. And if it's real bright, like the sun's right in your eyes, then you screw this guy in here. Again, I'm trying to do this looking through the camera, a little difficult. And so that's your sunshade if the sun's like right in your face. So that's the point of all of that. Your focus is up here. And I really like, for one, this is really smooth. Good texture there. And these are like ramped up, so you got little low grip panels there, and then these are ramped up ever so often. But yeah, it's really smooth. And I like that it doesn't pivot the scope cap there. So that's nice. Oop. There's your cover back here, so no flip up thing. And you got a diopter here, as you can see. Fast focus eyepiece. Well, I'm getting kind of off track here because I said I was wanting to point out the quirks. But while we're back here, there's your button outlook. But I want to cover the rest of the neat little quirks I discovered before I move on here. The O-rings are extra. I guess that's not so much of a quirk as it is a positive. Same with these tools. This Allen wrench here, the smaller one, well, I guess medium-sized one, is a good bit bigger. This is the one that you use for the rings. A good bit bigger than what I get with a lot of other scopes. So having larger hardware and screw size is nice and better for not stripping them out or rounding out the heads or anything like this, or like that rather. This is the one for the infrared here and probably a few other things. So this is even bigger. It's got a nice little turn handle on it. But other than this little guy here, which I have not discovered what that goes to yet, these are pretty nice size Allen wrenches, and accompanying screws a little bit larger than what I'm used to. So that's nice because, again, for durability. And then these little eyepieces here, they are two different lengths. So If one works better for you being shorter than longer or vice versa, you have options there. And this is a little difficult to do because it's got little tiny threads. I already did it off camera, but trying to do it while talking and keeping this as short as possible, not going to happen. But basically these screw into the back here, screw on, screw off, for whenever you need them. And I think you could probably still use these during the daytime, so I'm actually going to try that. I don't know that it's necessary to where you have to, you know, take them on and off constantly, whether you're using it daytime or nighttime. So I'm going to experiment with that. And lastly, I could not find my micro SD card in the box, but that's because it's already pre-installed. While we're on the subject, I might as well show you that. This is where your SD card goes, and then also the C port and micro SD port as well. Again, sorry for the lighting, but that's under that cap there. And then this is one of the battery caps. That extra cap we got, I don't know where the heck I put it, but you see on the top here, this one says 50 millimeter battery, and the other one says 60 or 65 mil or something like that. So I guess depending on what size your replacement battery is, maybe the width can vary because it takes a certain battery. The type of battery that goes in here comes in two different lengths, so that's why the two different caps. But while I'm on the subject of batteries, it's got two internal rechargeable batteries, and then it also has this extra removable rechargeable battery. The other two internal ones are not removable. This one is. So this gives you extended battery and runtime, instead of it just having the two internal and, you know, you plug the scope in, I'm assuming, and charge it. You got this third one here that gives you even more runtime, and you can pop that one out and charge it separately. I think also what that extra third battery that's removable will allow you to achieve, I believe you could just take extra batteries with you. So say you're on a hunting trip in the middle of nowhere in Alaska, no electricity, you know, you're staying in a little camp or even in a tent or whatever, and say you're going to be using this thing, you know, all week in cold weather and whatnot, you can just bring a pocket full of those already charged up. That way, if your scope happens to get low on battery while you're out in the field and you can't charge it or anything, you just pop that one out and then put in a fresh one, and then you'll be able to extend your runtime that way. But I got a list of features here I wanted to go over real quick, and then we'll take this thing out to the field and try it out. I'm going to get you know, shooting with you guys. Hopefully recorded video through the scope, part of the video as well. I'm already anticipating how long it's going to be. I don't know if I'm going to have to do two parts or what, but I'm trying to fit it all in this without it being like an hour long. And then we'll definitely be trying it out at night as well and showing you guys what it looks like at night. And I actually don't think I'll be able to get images through the scope for you guys the way I normally do with my camera, with this being a digital display. So that probably will be my only option to show you guys what I'm seeing through the scope, is to get that recording. So hopefully I can figure something out and get that in the video for you guys. But anyways, other than obviously the fact that it's a night vision scope, which is the main feature, first thing that stood out to me is the fact that they advertise 52x magnification. That's going to be awesome because I've never used anything with more than 25x so far. I've always dreamed about having a 32x scope. 52x is insane. I'm just hoping that you know, once it's up that high or close to it, that we're still going to have good clarity, and I'm certainly going to test that out. The recording and ability to take photos through it, it's 4K recording, and you can do 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, and 120 frames per second. Another feature I thought was cool, it's got different modes. You know, it's got a daytime mode, and then it's got two night modes. One of them they call the star mode or starry mode. So if it's dark out, but you have enough ambient light from moonlight, or if it's a real star-filled night and there's enough light coming from outer space, basically, it has this feature where if it's got enough ambient lighting like that, it can actually, instead of it showing it to you in black and white, it can pick up imagery that is actually got color to it instead of being just black and white. So if there's enough ambient light, you can actually see some color in the night vision. If it's too dark, like if you're in the middle of the freaking woods and tree cover and whatnot, then it will be black and white. But I'm real interested to try that star mode. Then as for the night vision, you could shoot a freaking mile with this thing, especially with 52x if it is going to be, nice and clear for you. But that doesn't mean you can see that far with the night vision aspect of that, because, mainly that comes down to the illuminator here. So with the illuminator, they advertise that you can see 400 meters, which is 437 yards with this illuminator here, which does focus, so you can pinpoint focus it on your target. And another neat little quirk, if you can see those little white, I don't know, dots there, whatever you would call them, blotches, it illuminates to let you know that it's on, and it has 3 different power levels too, so those will show you not only that it is on, but also which power level you're on, and it focuses just like the front of the scope here does. And then the rangefinder, again, it's optional. I think it was 1,200 yards, and that plugs directly into the scope, so it also shows you your range on screen if you have that optional rangefinder. It has a ballistics calculator where you can just enter your dope, and it'll do the rest for you, with accompanied by this rangefinder.
So the way this works is in conjunction with the rangefinder. So if you want to use the ballistics calculator on this, you're definitely going to want to get the rangefinder with it. So with the rangefinder on, once you enter the dope and the ballistics calculator for whatever you had it set for, it's going to give you a little green box or circle with a dot in the middle, and it's basically going to show you where to aim.
And you can put in 7 different sets stored in that ballistics calculator. So you could have it set up for 7 different guns, or 7 different calibers, or even the same caliber but 7 different loads.
Or different wind velocities.
Or I suppose even different geological locations, like you could have it set for 500 foot elevation and then set for 5,000 feet elevation on your hunting trip. And then it has a one shot zero thing on it with a dual reticle. So you take your shot, and then it'll give you a secondary reticle, and you'll line one up with the bullseye and then one up with where your shot actually went, and then lock that in, and then you're done. It zeroes it in one shot. So instead of having to try like the old school way of doing a one shot zero, where you have to remain perfectly steady or lock the whole gun in a vise and all that, and bring your only set of crosshairs, from where the bullet went to the bullseye, or the other way around, whichever's correct. This gives you 2 reticles when you're doing so. So you put one where you were aiming and one where it hit, and then it'll compute that and adjust the reticle for you once you enter that information. And speaking of the reticle, you can use a first focal plane or second focal plane. You don't have to buy one or the other. Part of those reticle, not the reticle options, but you can set it up either way. If you want it to stay first focal plane, or if you want it to stay second focal plane, that is an option. So you have both options there, which is pretty cool. And you get 7 different reticles to choose from. I'm actually glad this is on the box. So there's 7 different reticles to choose from, including just a little red dot. There's one over here. There's some that are in MIL or MRAD, and some that are in MOA. And then also you have these 5 different colors that you can change it to as well. So that's pretty sweet. And then it has an interesting picture-in-picture mode. So while you're, say, aiming at the deer or the bullseye, you have the whole 16:9 or 4:3 display. It's up to you. It has a separate little window at the top of the display.
So basically this will allow you to remain zoomed out for a large field of view, so you can see everything in the surrounding area, but give you a smaller little window there that's zoomed in exactly where you're aiming. So that's the advantage of that. You can be zoomed in on the target that you're aiming at while still having a large field of view to see everything.
Another neat feature, real-time HDMI external monitor capability. So you can run the cable from this into a laptop, for example, and on the laptop you will see what you are seeing through the scope. So this could come in real handy for, say, bench shooting. Your spotter can see everything through the laptop screen instead of looking through a spotting scope or whatever. Or I guess anyone else in your group who wants to, see what you're seeing, you can do that in you can do that with that feature.
Also, alternatively, I guess it might be a little strange, but you could technically shoot through the laptop screen just watching the laptop without even having to look through the scope.
Of course, you know, it's shockproof, waterproof, and there's a few more features I didn't go over, like the gyroscope and the compass. But again, if you want to know more, just check out the link in the description.
Also, don't forget, for the first few weeks after this video posts, follow the link in the description and you'll get 20% off.
But that does it for the unboxing and overview. I'll see you guys down on the range next. And after that, I'll get some night vision footage for you guys as well. And definitely test out, you know, the distance. We'll try to go out 400 yards like it says you can. Provided that the gun or guns like the ammunition that I bought, we'll be shooting this at least 500 yards, but I'm hoping to go further than that. I anticipate going out to the 1,000-yard range so we can, you know, really take advantage of and check out that 52x magnification.